So when was the poem originally published?
It was originally published by Dent in 1965.
Well, Nigel Frith, we're going to have the pleasure of hearing you read a section of it now.
Yes.
What part have you chosen?
Well, it is now called Young Student Troy, a case of Olden Love in 1660s Oxford, and I've chosen a part right near the beginning, after the hero has seen this blonde coming over Magdalen Bridge and has completely fallen for her and is trying desperately to find out who she is, as indeed was my own case.
Good. Well, let's get to it.
So, narrator. So Troy reflected on the days he'd passed, striving to find the source of this to-do, and like a sleuth after some favoured game, went clue collecting like a gummy shoe. He searched to learn her faculty and name, the subject studying, the year she's in. He asked his college friends where she might lurk. St Hilda's surely, coming thus to work, and hoping to refresh their memory, he told them how, after she'd passed him by, she stopped for friendly chat with one he knew, then turned into the examination schools. He set his cousin Pandy on it too, a one-time diplomat who lived nearby, and found that Pandy balked, and with a frown afforded no reply, but staring down seemed to know more than he might choose to do. But having vexed his friend, Troy paused for tea, and stirring it, slurping it, sighed, someone she must be, and he would never sleep till he knew who. And yet, with heart keel hauled and raw and leaden and flesh electrified and brain a blur, he still could dream that in some earthly heaven, when creeds were kind and earth's young people humble, under an Eden time of evermore, they had perhaps run naked through the jungle, or when the closing eye of daylight saw the slanted sunlight laughing in the foam, they had been lovers on a lonesome shore. Troy. Ladies and gentlemen, beware! The prey is sighted and the bear sits ogling at the honey pot. Whether there's honey in or not, whether there's candy to be tried, the in as rare as the outside, whether the pot contains a spice dearer than European price, richer than empires to the east, whose spicy life is keen to feast, I cannot tell, but this I know, soon I shall find if this be so. Bring me a tortoise shell of mine, with horns for arms and guts for twine, and let me make a lyre of time to strum the everlasting rhyme. For eyes of mine have dared to see nature in blessed harmony. For she's a creature to outdare the blasts of tempests and the stare of rampant tigers in the dark, whose marble brow houseth the lark shrilling in heaven, and again flies high above the dawning pane that breaks over the hills. This face of silver, polished, blent to match perfection's figurement, would turn to flight or strike them dumb, the zesty races of the sun. This face, the vacant spaces of the moon, this face, one summer afternoon, would strike a finer shadow than the globe that stretches out the man, and loose the bees and all their race from their meridian embrace. This head, this crown of intellect, would ravish travellers who had trekked 1,000 miles to see it, and refresh them from the wastes of sand, and have them rig and set to sea whole argosies of fantasy, with sun-struck plunder, till they ride like cities on the evening tide. This face, this trumpet call, this spell, would rouse the shadows out of hell, would dim the silver moon to dun, would loose the werewolf at the sun, would pull down kings, would smash the crown, would raise, would burn, would tear all down, would bound the mountains Apennine to leap into these arms of mine. Callooh, callay, hurroo, hooray! Yes, folks, this is my lucky day. Narrator. But entering then, Pandy arrived to see whether his cousin had recovered yet from such a foolish fancy as had passed the last time he had met his protégé, and interrupting him in reverie with an old gossip's diligence to know, he got no ready answer, but straightway encountered such a look of suffering as knew by instinct there was no advice by which to hold back Troy from offering himself up like a lamb for sacrifice. So he sat down beside his little brother, tried unsuccessfully to break the ice. Troy turned upon him with a deal of bother. "Ah, Pandy, why is it you trouble me? We have nothing to say to one another. And yet we have, my friend. Can you not see? I want to help you in your sorry plight. Nothing except my hopes will help for me against the plague I've suffered every night. So haunted am I by angelic sight." "What are your hopes?" said Pandy helpfully, as if he didn't know his left from right. "To find that blonde, and finding, hope that she might bring me love, and ever with me love, as my soul's sister in truth's infancy." With this he cast his eyes away again to rest upon the dahlias on the garden, scattering their yellow petals in a sieve. But Pandy's face could not but help but harden, and to straight talking he was now addressed. A bold truth would he frame and dare to give. "Pandy, she is my niece, Chrissy. I asked a friend whom you had seen meeting outside schools, and as suspected from what you had seen, found she had gone up that route that very morning. So she was able to confirm you had seen Chrissy Bacall, the Californian girl. I would have introduced you long before, but fear she's not quite the sort for you, for Chrissy is so much a 60s child, rash and abrupt to snatch what she desires, dismissive and severe on what she loathes, quick to rebel and taking fun in it, and I fear slow to pity or to pardon. She would repay your rapturousness with rue." "Can this be true? You know her? She's your niece? And from the adjacent branches of our clan? Daughter of Bruce Bacall, the politician? Chrissy? No longer captured in the States then, but over here in England and in Oxford? Then we can meet and dine this very night, and have some joy in our confederacy. I might have signed for supper, so might she, but we can skip our college for your house, and you can introduce us to delight." No, I could not. Chrissy's not your scene. In fact, she's of the left and you're the right. Your side is of a noble, ancient breed. She, with a father close to government, haunts the encampment of the coming tribe, who will pitch down your towers and laugh at it. Also she dances to the 60s beat and bangs her head among the beetles and the stones. You keep aloft in ancient reverie, like to some medieval courtier who from chivalry keeps up with courtesy. You are too mild and out of date and fine. And heed you this: Chrissy, although my niece, would not stay loyal should a reckoning come. And those her jeering and satiric friends who will be out demolishing your town, she'll side with them and match them stroke for stroke. Then, if her father wins administration, she'll leave your sleepy Oxford for the smoke. It's just as when, fighting the Trojan War, the noble Trojans faced the people's Greeks, and Cressida, as Chrissy would, decamped, and left her Troilus for Diomedes. Well, if she does, look for the fall of all. For when the left have power, keenly you'll see they'll relish the extirpation of your breed. They'll smash the landowners, they'll seize the trades, they'll trounce the farmers, soldiers, lords, and kill all lordly causes with the Commons Bill. And then your long-lived chivalry will be stuffed. Besides, I made a promise to your aunt to keep you from her clutches, and I will. So find another to award your crown and save your chivalry for the chivalrous. Troy turned his gaze again to his first view, the dahlias and the apples in the dell, and deep in sombre contemplation fell, leaving his friend to mark his wounding too. Pandy. He bears love's arrow, and it runs him through, thought Pandy, much as lovers used to bear in Petrarch's time, when love was given due among the noble hearts who could him bear. But what despoilage will it bring him to? It's bad enough with our collapsing breed, suffering the malice of their lefty creed, without the love dart being notched and shafted. And with these ruminations, Pandy parted. Troy. Near the beginning of last week, I saw a creature rare and sleek, whose crinkled mouth and marble brow gave me the sickness I have now. But who she was, so fond and fair, and how to me she could repair, this was as baffling as new. And labouring for word or clue, I sought her tracks, I'd searched her name, I set friends gumshoeing her game. But now I learn from Uncle Pandy, a man who really's come in handy, that out of chances by the dozen, she's indeed a kind of cousin, fair as the morn or even mornier, Chrissy McCall from California. But, says Pandy, hold your horses, she's not one for your resources, she's sharp and hard and steadfast, she'd easily eat you for breakfast. Disaster waits that way, draw back, go saunter down another track, or else, oh grief, oh angst, oh dread. Yet all this sails over my head, for how could Chrissy, blithe and blonde, who flew herself across the pond, be anything upon this earth but hatched by an angelic birth? Heaven's word I have on this, Chrissy's a confidant of bliss. Chrissy, as emblem of her worth, is among minstrelsies of mirth. For blessed with loads of seraph friends, whose sprightly stepping never ends, whose silked and silver ankles fly amidst the earth encircling sky, with daisied snood and bodice tight, she flies on phoenix wings of light, plumed in greens and cinnamars, dancing in circles round the stars. I've seen her, and I love her so. I've found her, shall I lose her? No. Mortality's not long to go, but all of it from peaks to sea, love shall be sacrosanct to thee.
Magnificent. Yes. Here's to that. And after the privilege of that introduction, I very much look forward to reading all the rest. Thank you.
I very much hope to have it written soon.
Yes,
Rewritten soon, yes.